I don't like crackers or juice. Crackers or juice. Crackers or juice. Crackers or juice. Cause I only like cookies and... Alright. This is the Blind Math Podcast. I'm Blind Math. We're sitting here with Absolute Zero, a.k.a. Michael Auchinlobby. He's mad at me for saying his name. And Dubois. Dubois is here. Ali Dubois.
Madame Dubois.
Madame Dubois is the official title for her. So today we also don't have anything to talk about. But one of the things that's nothing that I wanted to talk about was me and Ali went and saw Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is like the king of science podcasting pretty much. Well,
Science communicator.
Science communicator. He took off where Carl Sagan left off.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of wanted to talk about how so many people were disappointed in what they saw of him, which is kind of bullshit to me because I feel like, you know, they were just being nitpicky. The fact that they got a free show and I don't know what they were expecting. I guess they were expecting him to be like a preeminent Nobel Prize winning, like confusing person who would just talk about data all day. But instead he was like a comedian, you know. I don't know, but I got to ask him a question, and I asked him about Paul Dirac's quote, where Paul Dirac said, paraphrasing here, he said that science is trying to take something that we don't understand and make it something that we do understand, whereas poetry is the exact opposite. Paul Dirac was a famous quantum mechanic person. He created the language of quantum mechanics, and he was also well known for being terrible at language because when he was a child, his father would abuse him during dinner. And it kind of, and like the way he would abuse him would force him to speak French. And Paul Dirac did not speak French, and it just bothered the shit out of him. And he had huge problems with language his entire life. Anyways, so I asked Neil deGrasse Tyson that, and he actually told me that he didn't like poetry when he was younger, which really disappointed me because I mean, Michael and I both really adore poetry. I think Ali does too.
I do.
But Michael writes a lot of poetry. I write a lot of poetry. Do you write poetry, Ali?
A little bit.
And like we're all like interested in science, and it kind of made me a little depressed when he told me he didn't like poetry when he was younger. Because now I'm
But it sounds like there's more to that.
I mean, it seems like the reason it bothered me was like, it seemed like, I don't know, like you can't possibly be a scientist if you like poetry when you're younger. I don't know why.
Oh, that's what he's saying. Okay.
I mean, that's
what he said to you.
Well, he said, oh yeah, I forgot. Ali walked out. She got bored before my question came on, so she has no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. But like, but it's okay. And neither does Michael because he didn't even go. He flaked out.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's okay, but I guess. But the thing is, he later, after he said that he didn't like poetry when he was younger, he said that he liked it when he was older, and he recited a poem that he wrote, and I don't know. It kind of made me feel a little better, but it also made me feel a little weird because I realized like Neil deGrasse Tyson is just like any other scientist, a dude with like mild Asperger's, who like, you know, he is the least Aspergian like PhD astrophysicist in the world probably right now. So like
I don't know.
That's where his fame comes from.
Like my whole thing with that is like I feel like you learned a very important lesson, and that is idol worship. It is never wait, what?
Nothing. Yeah, what about idol worship?
Idol worship never lives up to, you know, your expectations.
Oh
of
yeah,
that person. I think you told me about that. Actually, I thought you learned your lesson when you went to see that folky guy,
Bob Dylan.
Yeah,
me and Ali were both. I didn't even know Ali was at that same show.
That's
it
so
was
funny.
when we were not even hanging out.
Yeah.
We went and saw Bob Dylan like it was like 3 years ago, and
at the
like
Civic Center.
we saw him at Tallahassee Civic Center, and he is an old motherfucker now, and like the show was him and like a bassist. He was playing guitar and a drummer, I think, and maybe there was one other musician.
It was pretty pitiful.
And yeah, he didn't even have backup singers, and the whole time he was just like, and she thinks
It's like
just
all
like a woman.
10,000 cigarettes came out of his mouth and into the microphone.
Yeah,
But
and he still smokes. That's why he sound like that.
yeah, I mean, honestly, I knew Bob Dylan was not gonna be the greatest. I wanted to hear his older songs. I guess I wasn't as versed in his newer stuff, and I didn't realize how much he strayed away from his older style. He strayed away. He had like biker tattoo emblems projected on the screen.
He did? I didn't even
Yes.
notice that shit.
Yes, and everyone was just he was just dead. He was dead inside, and he was on stage
Dead
just
inside.
playing. And I mean, I don't know. Anybody who is really into Bob Dylan at a certain point in their life, he's a symbol of a revolution of all of these songs. They instill such passion in you, and honestly, that concert depressed me for a while.
Oh
And I had to
my
not listen to him for a while. And then I read his biography, and it gave me so much closure, because it talked about how Bob Dylan was in fact worshipped by his generation when
Yeah.
he was writing all of these songs, but to the point where it was really interfering with his life, where he was being put up on this pedestal as a Jesus figure, something he did not want. He didn't want to hold the responsibility of the entire generation on his shoulders.
Yeah,
People
but
were going,
I don't know.
Well,
like,
well, listen. People were going to his house.
yeah.
He described it in his biography as the unaccountable-looking folk. Basically, people who just wanted to get high and just, sit around and talk about like, yo, man, free love.
Yeah.
Like, I can eat your food. I'm welcome to your fridge, right? So all of those people, but they were just banging on his door. Everyone was trying to go see him. In order for him to get it to all stop and for him to just live a normal life, was for him to destroy his image through his music.
I mean,
He had to
well,
sell
the thing
out.
is, I
He
don't
had
give a
to
shit though. If
consciously-
he was, I don't know. Hold on a second. I don't know. I the problem I have with that is like, I mean, okay,
I'm
so
not
I agree. I agree
right.
with like that. He probably had a shitty experience with all. Like he was like one of the first celebrities, like real like live celebrities before Twitter or any of that shit. But his concert, that does not change the fact that his musicality at that concert was so bad. and the
But
thing
he
is,
had
I
a-
like his new album.
Okay.
His album right before, like the new one.
Okay.
Like I bought it. Well, I didn't buy it. I think I got it for Hanukkah or something. And then I listened to, fuck you, I liked it, and I thought it was good. I thought he like explored new realms. Like he explored like Italian folk, and like it only like it seemed kind of new in that instead of saying girl, he would say mama. Because he
Okay.
was old.
Okay.
So, and I was like,
I
and I
like that.
appreciated the fact that he was being real. But then the concert came, and it's like he didn't have any of the extra instrumentation he did on the album. He just had the same like basic rock and roll setup, him on guitar, bassist, drums, and like there were no backup singers, which I thought was just absurd.
Yeah,
and-
it was a bad concert, I guess. Well,
I mean,
you're
how
right.
old
You're right.
is
You're
he?
saying in spite of
He's
all
like
of
70 something. He's
Yeah.
like
I'm
I'm
71.
impressed that he got up
yeah,
on
it was
stage,
basically.
you know
I
what
think it
mean?
was his. I think it was a last just basic. He was selling on the fact that this is the last chance you're gonna see me, so I don't really have to try at all. Which is, yeah.
You think so? I heard.
maybe. Is
My
he
friend
going-
Greg said he like snuck behind backstage for a second and saw Bob Dylan smoking a cigarette, and like that was like all he wanted out of life
Oh my
was
god!
to see
that would've
Bob
been
Dylan
amazing.
while smoking a cigarette. I'm like, oh yeah, you get to see what killed the music.
You know what that
I mean,
reminds
the
me?
music was never about his voice.
Well,
Although
I mean, I did
liked
like
his
the
style. I liked
1970s,
his,
like
yeah, I liked his voice.
lay, lay, lay.
Lay across my big brass bed.
He went lower than me on that one. That's weird. I don't know. Do you think there are any like really old rappers who would like? Who was that one? Cannabis, right? That's the only one that I can
But-
think of where like, tell him about like, I mean,
I mean,
I don't know.
think the whole internet knows about cannabis
Yeah.
pulling out the notepad in the
Yeah.
battle.
Yeah, that
That
was.
was really sad, Allie. Yeah,
Well, okay, I mean, I know that this all has a common theme, and from what we were talking about earlier with Neil deGrasse Tyson, the example with Bob Dylan, and it's what Michael said about idolatry.
yeah.
The expectations will never be met when you build up this idol tree. And
Idol tree. A tree of idols. At the top
Like,
of
I
the
was
tree would
wondering,
be
is
Jesus
that-
Christ.
adultery.
Is that a word?
Adultery.
Isn't it like idolatry?
How come?
Idolatry.
You know,
think
how come
that's-
Allie's not a? Oh yeah, no, she is. I don't know. But,
How come? So
How come?
basically,
Yeah. The Jews get mad at idolatry. That's like a.
yeah.
It's a sin.
See, I'm a Catholic. I'm pretty used to it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Catholics are all
Ten
about
Commandments.
idolatry.
I know.
They
My-
are all like. I heard that they asked like Catholics all around the world like who do they pray to the most, and
It's like a fingernail from
most
the
of the-
saint of Saint
yeah,
Catherine.
most of them pick saints. Very few of them actually pick Jesus, which I thought was interesting.
My grandmother would always say, she told my mom when my mom got married, like, "Oh, you're gonna get a Bible, right? You're getting married. You need a Bible in the house." And my mom, she's like, when my mom asked me that or told me that, I thought about it, and I was like, have we ever read our Bible in our house? And she brought it up to her mom, and her mom's like, well, it's just good to have one. It's good that it's there.
Just in case.
man.
Just in case you need to perform an exorcism or something.
Read, nigga. You haven't seen that either.
What? Oh.
We
Boondocks.
can't make Boondocks references in there.
Dude, I've been
What if-
watching so many that like rewatching them on YouTube
Oh
last
my
week.
god, they're the best things ever.
It is.
See, I'm watching.
The
I want to start
Sopranos?
watching. Well, I am watching
Fuck
The
that
Sopranos.
series. Watching Boondocks.
Watch the boot.
I'm
You
just
gotta
kidding.
get up on Stinkmeaner. You have to see part 2, which is what Michael's
Stink
referring
Meter
to.
Return.
Stink
Yeah.
Meter. I've been watching a lot of anime, like Ghost in the Shell,
Yeah.
Samurai Champloo.
Yeah. I actually.
That was the picture on our first podcast,
Oh yeah, that's right.
our shittiest podcast.
Yeah.
those who are
I
keeping track.
actually, watched Ghost in the Shell last year.
Yeah.
And like now that I'm taking like more philosophy classes, like I think about that show differently because
Yeah,
it talks
right?
a lot. I mean, and in a way, I kind of think that show says a lot about. Like, did you finish the whole thing?
No, I want to start
but
after The Sopranos.
It talks a lot about like what it means to be human and what it means to be
Yeah, like
sentient
existential
and
themes. I love
Yeah.
anime with existential
What
themes.
does it mean to be
Yo,
human?
you.
No.
I mean,
we don't-
we could
that's-
have a
it,
talk.
it
about
goes
that.
into artificial intelligence and
Yeah,
stuff. Right?
yeah. It's those war tanks that they make. Those are like the best characters on the show.
Hmm.
But just real quick to tie up this theme, because
Of
for the-
idolatry?
yes, of idolatry. I know we've gone on slight tangents here and there, but to tie it up, how I felt the whole time when I was in the Neil deGrasse Tyson talk
Yes.
was that I noticed that, and me and you both shared our distaste for the heckling that was going on.
Oh yeah, there were so many freshman college students who were just like, "I love
They-
you, Neil," as
yeah,
if like
laughed
he
at
gives a
everything he
fuck if
said.
you yell at like, and they just
Einstein.
laughed at every scientist they heard of. They started to cheer.
And clap.
And Tesla got the most claps. 'Cause he's the hipster scientist.
Oh
Sorry.
my god!
No, big ups for Nikolai Tesla. I don't mean to
I'm
defame
gonna
you.
blow
All right.
you up with my Tesla coil. motherfucker.
All right, I'm sorry, but yeah.
No, it's
continue.
fine. I mean, I was thinking about it, and that's what was making me so angry during the whole talk, because I felt like he didn't have to deliver any kind of a quality talk, because he knew that anything that came out of his mouth was going to be worshipped and kissed. Everyone was just going to suck his dick no matter what. So
Would you suck his dick?
No matter what.
Yes. Without a hesitation.
I mean, if he wanted me to, I mean,
I mean, he is Neil deGrasse
It's
Tyson.
okay.
That is doing pretty good for a Jew boy.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. that was a problem. So I also wanted to ask Michael specifically if he believes in Bigfoot.
mean-
You're looking at me with a confused
I
look.
mean,
It's like,
I'm-
why would you
Michael
ask me that question?
specifically.
I mean, why would you ask me that question?
I don't know,
Your
because I would.
opinion is
I'm
the
curious. Well, because you.
highest
Yeah, I'm
educated
curious
one
what's your
in the room.
viewpoint on
Well,
on fringe
t-
science.
I took enough biology courses to know that Bigfoot is impossible.
How is Bigfoot impossible based off biology?
Is this a serious question?
You know, Jane
I mean,
Goodall.
hey, I
Did you
don't-
know Jane Goodall thinks there's probably a Bigfoot? Thinks there's an undiscovered primate
Alright,
in the
let's go
Northwest
ahead
region.
Of the United States.
Yeah.
And how did they get here from Africa?
The same way any primate has gotten to America from Africa. You know, there are monkeys in the Americas, right?
Are they?
Yeah, I've seen them. I think there's monkeys in the Everglades, to be honest, just not that many.
No.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I could be
No.
wrong about that. I could have sworn my
You're-
dad told me there was. Just I think there's like lemur type things. I don't know. I might be talking out of my ass right now. Like
you're-
small primates in the Everglades.
No.
There are definitely monkeys in Mexico because
They're
I've seen them with my
probably,
eyeballs.
Like in South America, maybe. But I'm
I
pretty
mean,
sure there's like not even.
but there,
primates
Jane Goodall thinks there's an undiscovered primate in.
in North America.
She says she doesn't.
In North-
She's not going to flat out deny their existence.
Yeah, like I saw that people keep but she said it many times, like in many interviews, people ask her about it because it's kind of a weird thing. But like she said that, she hopes that there is one basically, and there's no proof that there isn't one. There's no reason why there shouldn't be one.
It's unknown, but
But-
until you
There's no proof that there isn't
look.
a lot of.
Well, I would love to,
Infinitely many.
find Bigfoot and find the Loch Ness monster. Even if we did find quote unquote Bigfoot, who cares?
I fucking care. That's so cool. All right.
Okay.
The Loch Ness monster is
Like-
almost definitely bullshit because that the whole Loch Ness
Messy.
monster is just and they've searched the entire loch.
Well,
the entire
I mean,
Loch Ness,
besides that,
and they're
like
with radar, and they haven't found it. But here's the thing about Bigfoot, though, like the area of land that Bigfoot is supposedly inhabits, like the forest that it lives in,
Mhm.
is like the size of Georgia. From it's huge. It's a huge area of land.
Okay.
And I might be wrong with that scale, by the way. It's a big. The point is, it's huge. It's a large. It could be its own state, and the thing is, like, there's not that many people that live up there,
Okay.
and not only that, think about like the Florida panther in the Everglades. Have
Okay.
either of y'all seen a panther in the Everglades before? And you guys all live in that area. Have you ever seen one in the wild?
No.
No, I've
No,
never gone out
you
of my
haven't.
way to go
No.
see
And
one.
the
no.
reason why and here's the thing, my dad is a environmentalist. He literally studies the Florida panther.
Yeah.
He's studied it. I stuttered right when I said.
I know.
But
I was gonna let it go, but it
but
was
yeah,
funny.
and like he's looked around. He's seen like markings of them. He's wandered in the Everglades for like 30 years practically. He's never seen one in the wild.
Yeah.
Okay, he's
the
seen
Florida
tracked.
Panther.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we know for a fact those exist. We
Yeah.
know there's only about like 60 or so, like 100 and
Yeah.
something. There's very few
Yeah.
left. But we know for a fact that those exist.
Yeah.
So, like, how is it so hard to think that there's a chance there's a Bigfoot in the Northwest region?
Well, there might be a chance, but who cares?
Well-
like, why does that matter?
Because there could be, like, a giant, like, because, they used to think the gorilla was, like, a type of mythical creature that a lot of people didn't believe in. The gorilla was the same situation.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of animals that are undiscovered. Like the existence of giant squids was debated for a long time until they found, enough
Yeah.
of them washed up on shore.
Right.
That, that we're like, okay, these do exist. Narwhals are elusive. Like, there's elusive animals everywhere. Like,
Right.
Like, why should we even care? This is like not important.
Because
Dude,
okay,
I bet-
why
okay.
should we even care?
Okay.
Because what if it's hyper intelligent? What if it's like smarter than any other primate we've ever seen?
Then we would have seen it by now. The
What?
The point
That
of
does
the,
not
the
make
point
no.
of the matter
That's
is
how is
like,
that true?
Cause, dude, like, there's people who go out and look for Bigfoot. They waste their lives.
Yeah, but
Camp out and they look for
people
Bigfoot.
look for the Florida panther too, and they miss it out.
Yeah, but
know?
they find droppings and they find prop
Yeah,
pins.
we've supposedly found scat, but it's up for debate whether or not it's actually.
Dude, you haven't found shit. Unless there's a compelling reason for me to believe in the existence of
Jane Goodall.
No,
All right, okay.
no,
all right.
Zach.
Bigfoot.
All right,
because
fine.
I'm
Okay,
not
so
gonna
what? All right, so
concede the
In
Are you
fact,
s-
if you want to,
Bigfoot.
Jane Goodall basically says, "Well, I'm a romantic, so I've always wanted to believe in Bigfoot."
yeah.
These are her. She's fascinated by the idea that they might exist, and that she can't, and that she, in fact, like what you were saying, she can't
Well,
flat out deny them.
Well, she said that
But
she
it's
thinks there's an
not-
undiscovered primate, and whether or not it's Bigfoot is still up for debate. It could just be like a monkey that
Right,
lives in
but
the
that's it's just very different than the claim you were making earlier when you were saying Jane Goodall thinks that, Bigfoot exists.
Well, she thinks that it might. I mean, like nobody knows that it exists yet. I mean, the thing is, like, it's a hypothesis, right?
Based
that I think
on-
based on eyewitness at this point.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, there's been a lot of like people who are like fairly smart who have said they saw it. I mean, the thing is, there's also been a lot of crazy people who have said they saw it. So like it's kind of difficult. But the thing is, if tomorrow, it's one of those theories that like a lot of people want to say it's fringe and conspiratorial, but if anything, it's a lot less fringe than some of the other kooky shit that. Like,
The
I saw a video of
reptilians?
some dude who said that the Earth is the center of the universe. He doesn't believe in the
Yes.
Copernican model.
Is that the guy that they posted on that Facebook group?
Yeah, like this guy. Like, there's a lot of people who think this.
I wrote down too. I wanted to talk about wackos.
Yeah, fringe. This is
Another day.
and wackos. I mean, this is perfect time. That's the thing about science. Like, there's this guy Paul Feyerabend who believed he was like a scientific anarchist. He believed that science should not be dictated by any kind of methodology, like that it
Okay.
should just be free to move. His idea was that, if Einstein was held to the scientific method, we would have never came up with relativity because he spent like all that time like thinking about, the thought experiment of like being on a light beam. And he said if Galileo had been restricted to the scientific method, he would have never came up with all the shit that he did about the moon and all that stuff.
Now describe the scientific method that you're talking about.
Well, basically, like, what Feyerabend meant by that was just any kind of method, like any methodology at all. So, like, like the one that we're all aware of is like, you generate a hypothesis, you test your hypothesis, and then you repeat it, right? Like, and basically.
And how did Einstein nor
Well,
How
Einstein
did they
didn't
not
use that
use that?
because, well, think about it. Like, when Einstein came up with relativity, there was literally no proof for it besides his math. Like they didn't actually come up with any proof for the theory of relativity until, what was it, like 1918, like 13 years after he published his paper. And that's when that guy went out and took a photo of the sun during the sun during a solar eclipse and saw the light rays like bending around it, which proved relativity because relativity said that light would be bent by gravity, basically.
Well, isn't it that Einstein wasn't proved wrong?
Right. Well, yeah, he hasn't been proved wrong. So you're like taking the falsifiability route here.
Yeah, in a way. And it's that basically, I mean, how I see it is that Einstein's theory of general relativity and quantum mechanics, isn't that kind of, it draws a parallel to the incompleteness theorem, where they're both these theories that have their own, let's say like a basis. They have their own mathematical basis that they'll never intersect, like they'll never coincide.
Well, relativity intersects with quantum mechanics.
Right,
The Dirac
but-
equation.
Right, but I'm talking
They
about
just don't play well together.
They don't what
they
together?
break down
They-
in their certain.
Well, they have problems with them, of course, but
I've heard that. I mean, I'm talking out of my ass here because I don't know that much
I
about
mean, I
physics.
kinda
no,
am.
but
I
please
heard-
talk out of your ass.
But I've heard that when you try and like analyze things that are like very small, very minute, or and at the same time very dense, like the universe. Right before the Big Bang or whatever, it that the formulas do not work out very well. You get impossible answers.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not sure what you mean. I don't know.
I don't. Maybe none of us know enough about it.
Yeah,
but
we're all
what I
kinda
have
stupid.
heard is that they don't. There are spots where they're not consistent with one another. Basically, it's that quantum mechanics is not completely consistent with the theory of general relativity and vice versa. And it's because that they can't find the unifying theory.
Well, I mean, general
It's
relativity.
String
I
theory
don't.
It's
tries to-
obviously M theory, guys.
General relativity. I don't know. Special relativity. I know for a fact that it works well with quantum mechanics because if you are bored and want to look on the internet and type in Dirac documentary, you'll see my documentary about Paul Dirac. And we actually derive the equation where we put Einstein's energy into the Schrodinger. Anyways, the point is, it works. I don't mean to get all boring there, but point is that you can do it. And I guess what I'm saying is, like, going back to fringe science is like, all science starts off as fringe. You have to start off as fringe, and like no matter
take a stab. What you mean by that is take a stab in the dark.
Yeah, like anything that's truly good starts off as fringe. There's some alarm going off. I feel like I'm about to get stabbed, or I don't know. Like there's gonna be a prisoner, and I guess what I'm saying is, you have to let like certain science be crazy first. Like for instance, like alchemy was science for a while. I mean, it wasn't really science, Like there's some debate about whether or not it counts,
It
as
doesn't
science.
really.
Like Isaac Newton wrote far more papers on alchemy than he ever did on mathematics.
It's
And,
interesting. Like the elixir of life.
And like, a lot of I heard someone said that Newton was not the first scientist, but rather the last magician, which I kind of feel that sentiment. But I guess what I'm saying is like we have to expect Bigfoot. We have to like look for Bigfoot, or we're just not living up to our scientific potential.
Okay, so all right. To respond to that,
Yes.
we should also be looking for dragons, right?
Well, is there any scientific data for dragons?
I mean, they did we have eyewitness testimony.
Whatever. But do we have trackings?
Yes, we have dragon.
Where
in Asia?
Quote unquote.
Where?
Dragon tracking.
Asia's a big place.
Somewhere in there.
See, this
Those
is like
Chinese
okay, but
people
here's the
like-
thing. I would be down with dragons if there was like actually some people who like had some viable proof.
I mean,
And
and show me the
what are
viable proof.
viable
for-
Well,
proof
but
for
that's
Bigfoot.
okay. That's what I'm.
That's what
there's
I'm
more.
saying, though.
But
like,
okay, I'm not saying that Bigfoot is definitely real. Or anything. I'm
that's
saying
what
that.
I'm saying,
I'm
like-
saying that there's
Once you're in the corner, you
I'm
can't
saying that
look
Bigfoot
Like-
is likely to
And
be
so
worth.
are
in,
dragons.
it's look that. It's,
Look.
what I think is about Bigfoot. Let me just sum it up. I think that Bigfoot might not be real, but it might also be real. So we should be trying to find out. Is all I'm saying.
All I'm saying is that reptiles and birds are in the same phyla, so you could very likely have a reptile with wings that flies. That's all I'm saying, Zach.
You're such a cracker. You're such a
Yeah,
cracker.
bats.
I'm
I feel like
saying-
bats are close to dragons.
All right, so this brings up a good transition to lies. So
Lies.
That is
people who
that is
lie.
a pretty good transition.
So I think it's pretty safe to say that some of the people who saw Bigfoot were lying.
Okay. Like all
know,
of them.
They just wanted to. Well, not. I don't think all of them
Or
were
all
lying.
of
I
them.
think
Maybe they were
they
convinced.
might have
Maybe
just
they
been
were
mistaking.
convinced.
Like I heard Les Stroud, the guy from Survivor Man, said he thought he didn't see Bigfoot. He just was pretty certain it was Bigfoot because, like, Les Stroud, like, you've heard of Survivor Man, right? Or have you? He, like, he spends a lot of time outdoors,
Yeah.
right? And he was, like, in the Alaskan wilderness and, like something with 2 feet was outside his tent, and he knew it was 2 feet because he could hear it, and it made like a sound that like it was like I can't imitate it, but he said it was like kind of ape like, and he, like first inclination 2 feet, it must be a bear, right?
Yeah.
But he said there's no way that call was a bear, and it was also gone really, really fast, which is bears are not that fast. Well, I mean, they're not slow, but, they're not as fast. I don't know. But the thing is, he didn't see it with his own 2 eyes, so, like, he could have been but he thought it was possibly Bigfoot. So, it could be. I'm just saying, there's some people who are reputable who say it, and there are other people who are just crazy and want to, like, be part of the club. So, and those people who are part of the club, they're liars. Why do they lie?
But I don't know, a bipedal ape, like just like for the size that they say that people report it to be, like its territory would be huge, and like how does,
well, yeah, it is huge, of course.
Like, what I'm saying though is like how does like all monkeys are like social too, like how do like a social group of primates go undetected for this long, but somehow can find each other to mate? Because it's not like they can't be using mating calls, because we would have.
Yeah, they could. People have claimed to hear them. A lot of people have claimed to hear them. That's one of the things that people falsely claim. But I mean, the same way that the gorilla went so like didn't we not? Could you look that up when the gorilla was discovered?
Yeah,
wasn't it in like the 20th century?
Dude,
I'm pretty sure it was fairly recently the gorilla was discovered.
1847, 1902. Let's see.
I'm just saying, like,
2005.
there's.
I'm kidding.
I'm just saying, there's a chance, like, that it could have been undetected for this long.
There's also
1852.
There's not a lot of resources
That
going
doesn't
into
make
it,
sense.
Okay.
and like I said, it could be elusive. Like you can hear the panther call,
Okay.
and yet like hardly anyone even sees the panther in real life.
Okay.
Like
I'm saying,
Greg,
like,
who lives in the Everglades, like he has a farm in a panther habitat, and he's like only seen one in person once. So he literally spent all of his life on a panther habitat,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean.
Okay.
Like
I spent my life in an Everglades habitat too, and I only saw.
but not the same
I
way.
only saw
You lived in suburbia, like.
I only saw one snapping turtle the entire time I was there.
But you lived in like mowed lawn area, like. You know what I
but
mean?
like the area right
let's
behind.
plant some petunias
Do
area.
you know where? Do you know Black Point Marina? Like I live
no.
it's hard to describe it, but like literally behind my house went into like a lake that went into like.
Yeah, no,
Like,
I know,
like
I know exactly what you're talking.
submerged
I'm from Naples. It's the
areas,
same
yeah.
thing.
And then like right after that is like a marina that FSU has a research station at.
Yeah.
There's also a nuclear power plant there too, but
Yeah, no,
but,
we fucked up the Everglades. If that's what you're.
no, I mean I have no problem with nuclear power. I lived right
Well,
next
I'm
to
not
a
saying
nuclear power plant.
Actually, I kind of have a problem with nuclear
I
power.
don't have a problem with nuclear power. I mean, assuming that you have the money to build the plant, I don't see the big deal. I mean,
Well, if it fails,
there's
you
a
get some.
meltdown zone and there's like an evacuation zone area.
Yeah, but then
like,
you have to evacuate Miami.
No, I mean the meltdown radius is actually like not that big.
Well, okay. The thing is, they always say that like they've covered all bounds, but then you look at something like Fukushima,
Yeah.
and like you could say Chernobyl, but Chernobyl was like a massive scale of incompetence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the people who were running Chernobyl had no business running a nuclear power plant.
Yeah.
They just like they were just so
Buddy
fucking
Ron.
haphazard about it, huh? Did you find out when the gorilla was
It
discovered?
was 1857.
1857. I feel that seems pretty recent, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Or
Like,
that's what I meant.
That is a long time. Like, we would have found this Bigfoot already, man. There's like
I don't know. I mean,
like
I don't know.
oh,
There's
God.
I don't know. All I'm saying is like until
Everyone
someone
has
actually puts
camera phones.
okay, there's never been like a a serious like inquiry though.
Yes, there have.
There's been a lot of like crazy people out there with
Yes,
like
and none of
cameras.
them have found Bigfoot, which is my point.
But they have such a huge plain of land, and like the plain of land is much bigger than the Everglades, mind you.
Okay, all right. So, what is the?
And it's very far from civilization. Also,
So how about we could spend money to chase this pipe dream that doesn't really make a difference, or we could spend it researching animals we know exist, but nobody knows.
I mean, we should do that too. I mean, I don't see the
Bro,
Okay.
I bet you can go outside, find an ant pile, and nobody has discovered or like named that species of ant. It's not
Yeah.
that hard, especially in Florida.
Well,
like
I mean,
it's
it would.
not that hard. Like
I mean, it's also a cool thing. Yeah.
yeah, like there are like literally.
So what's your point?
hundreds
I don't.
of
What's wrong with
thousands
that? I
of
have no problem
species
with that.
of ants that have
Yeah,
yet
what's
to
your
be
point?
named and
What's your
documented.
point?
What
What's your
I'm
point?
saying is we know that they exist. You know what I mean? We just haven't found them yet. And we're wasting our time and effort searching for
On
something
Bigfoot?
that we know
Fuck
doesn't
no.
exist.
Fuck, we're not wasting our time. I want to find Bigfoot. Okay, you might have a little bit of a point. But, like, all right, you have a little bit of a point there that we shouldn't waste our time on something that's frivolous, you know? Like, I make that claim about certain things in terms of certain conspiracies that have to do with certain terrorist attacks that certain people on this podcast believe.
Yeah, crazy people.
But like, so I kind of understand where you're getting at. Like, we shouldn't waste our time like looking for something that's not there when there are things that are there that are cool. Like, okay, but if Jane Goodall says there's an undiscovered primate, she just thinks it might not be Bigfoot.
Yeah,
I think we should at least like primatologists in America should maybe consider looking in that area, you know, for something. And, you know, they don't have to necessarily be thinking like, oh, it's got to be a human, like, you know what I mean, an upright gorilla.
I feel
you know?
like there is no way that no one no primatologist has been like, you know what? I'm pretty sure everyone approaches it like they're like, there's no reason why there should be a giant primate.
No, I just told you
here.
Jane Goodall thinks there might be one. And you know Jane Goodall, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so like I feel like she's the only primatologist I've heard of. So that must mean she's reputable,
Oh my god.
because that's how that works. I don't know. It's okay. Anyways, so people lie about Bigfoot. People lie all the time. I was listening to a story today on NPR about how lying is a good thing. And recently I've actually been trying to lie better. Like, because I don't know. I read this story about lying and I felt really connected with it. And it was about how...
But the Bible says you cannot lie under any circumstance. Therefore,
Well,
I never lie under any circumstance.
I masturbated on a Bible yesterday. It was pretty exciting. But
Did you use a condom?
well, you can't use a
Bible
condom
says
if
you
I mean, like, you would have to jerk off into the condom and then like
Because
take
you
off the
can't put it
condom
on there.
and then like let it drip out the back onto the Bible. Just let that's
Hey, when you
that is
All right,
one
all right,
method.
all right.
when you're going to fuck a Bible, you need to use
We
protection.
were on to
You
a
don't
good
wanna
story.
have-
We were
don't know
on
where
to
that
a good
Bible's
story.
been.
What happened, you guys?
I mean,
How did we come here?
I mean-
All right, no, but I was just
Story
saying
of
like
NPR.
lying is like sometimes a good thing, sometimes it's necessary. And I realized like I used to lie a lot about things that were bad. Like I would like say someone would invite me to a social gathering that I don't want to go to because I'm an introvert, and I would
You are so not an introvert. Anyway.
oh yeah, well whatever, and I would be like,
no
oh, I
headphones
can't
for
go
me.
because I have a lot of homework or my friend's dying or just make up
Oh.
something terrible that happened.
I'm
And I
black.
realized, like, why I got, like, the only reason I lie about saying something terrible happened is because those are the lies that are easier to believe. Because if you say, like, yeah, no one's going to ask questions like, You know what I mean? You say like, "Oh, my ass is bleeding. I can't go." No one's gonna be like, "Oh, well, tell me about it."
Really?
Like-
Your ass is bleeding.
You know?
Hell,
It
They might-
wasn't bleeding last time I saw you.
Yeah, right. They
Good.
might ask one question like, "Really? What's that like?" You'd be like, painful." You know, and that's like all you gotta say, and you're good. But
good old
I don't know.
hemorrhoids.
I guess lately I've been trying to lie about things that are good. Like anytime someone lies or wants me to do something that I don't want to go to, I'll lie and say like, "Oh, I found a kitten by my door, and I have to pet it, so I
Huh.
can't go." Or I have to rescue it. You know, I have to find whoever owns this kitten because I can't let the kitten be by itself, or some kind of horse shit like that. And like, and you know, and I honestly think it makes you a good, better liar if you're able to do it right. But the thing is, like now, every time I lie, I have so much to remember because I have to like tell myself like, if I see this person,
Yeah,
I
you
have to
keep
tell
consistent.
them. Yeah, like on Tuesday, I was
Masturbating.
yeah,
To a
or
Yeah,
Bible.
I was gonna
like, so did you ever find the kitten house? And then you're just like, wait,
a
fuck?
kitten, like, and like I have to remember if it was a gray kitten in my story or a brown one or where exactly I found it, and then I usually think of a secondary story to go along with that story. So like
So
I'll
it
be like,
doesn't seem
yeah,
like
like
you're
oh,
lying.
after I hung up with you, I was like running around for hours, and when I found the person, he was just like shirtless and drinking like codeine or something. You know?
Well, the thing about it is, I know pathological liars, and the way to get around inconsistency is not to acknowledge their existence.
I totally
They like everyone who I know who's pathological liar.
They make you
They-
think you're the pathological.
Oh
Thinker.
no! It's just like you'll be like, "But didn't you say X, Y, and Z?" And they'll be like, "No, I said Z, W, and Q." And I'm like, "All right."
Yeah, that is.
I know.
That is one way
I
to
know
do it,
that
I suppose.
story.
I knew a guy who he had synesthesia. Have you ever heard of that? Synesthesia?
With
No.
the music, you see
Yeah,
the
like-
colors.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah,
it's
you
yeah.
told me about
It's
it.
like this thing where, like he would have to drive with his windows down because he can't see unless he can hear. But the thing is his memory was like so sharp. Like everything he read or heard, he remembered. Like it was amazing. But he was also
Did he
a
have to read out loud to himself?
yeah,
Okay.
I believe so. And like, one of the things about him was he lied like crazy, and I didn't know this when I first met him. Like, I was just like, wow, he's got all these cool stories. And he was like, he like told these stories about these two people that he killed on accident. Like, he killed two people, and he actually had like elaborate stories. And like, I remember one day. You know, I believe those stories, by the way. I was like, okay, whatever. Maybe he accidentally
Maybe
killed
he
some.
did
Like, the
accidentally
stories
kill
had so
someone.
much detail in
Wow.
them. And
Wow.
it's like, you know, and it wasn't like, oh, shit, he's a crazy person. It was
Yeah.
just like, oh, fuck, that was unlucky. kind of
Yeah, that
stories.
could happen to anyone.
Yeah, and like.
what if I hit someone in my car? You know.
Well,
I've
basic.
thought about
The
that
story
before.
was like, it could honestly be true as far as I know. I mean, he is a liar, so it might be bullshit. But the story was like somebody robbed him, and like took his iPod, like knocked him over and took it, and started to run away. And he like didn't know that this guy can run track, so he started to run after him, and like he had like a rock, like before he started running, and he hit him on the back of the head with the rock to get him to stop to get his iPod back, and that killed him.
What?
But that's
Wow.
you know, well, yeah, I mean that bludge to the head, like that's bad. But anyway, so like I found out he was a liar because one day we yeah, it's cool. Because one day we I found out he was a liar because one day we were at the we were at the club or some bullshit, and he told me he was on not LSD. He told me he was on ecstasy, but he didn't fucking like seem like he was on ecstasy. He was just kind of like, I'm on ecstasy, woo. And like I was like, dude, you're not on ecstasy, are you? And he's like, no, I was lying. I'm like, you lie a lot, don't you? And he was like, yeah, I do.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so
Or
then,
was
like,
he lying and he never lies?
well, the thing is, after that, like, we had like a heart-to-heart, and I guess he just kind of revealed to me that he lies about everything. Like, and I don't know, I almost kind of respected the fact that he told me that he lies about everything. Because, like, it's like, okay, well, I can deal with that, like, now that I know.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. Actually, I had that very same heart-to-heart freshman year with Andrew. I won't put his last name in.
Okay.
You should
But-
speak into your microphone.
Hello.
Yeah.
Crackers.
I'm sorry, but you can continue.
But yeah.
Andrew's a liar?
Yeah, Andrew is a liar.
Really?
Dun, dun, dun.
He was. I don't think he is anymore. He
liked to lie? a
he
lot?
lied about things like not being a virgin.
Oh. Whoops. Not supposed to lie about that one. One time I lied about cunnilingus. Like,
Cutalingus.
I had never gone down on a girl, and it's not like I didn't want to, because I had, like, a couple different girls, you know, poontang times.
Yeah, yeah.
And, like, it's not that I didn't want to. Every time I offered, they were like, oh, I don't want you. Like, for some reason, they didn't like it. So I was like, okay,
Uh-huh.
I guess I won't. Like, I don't mind not doing it. I wanted to try it. Like, there was one girl who I just really wanted to eat her pussy, and she told me not to. And I was like, what the fuck? This is weird. And, like, anyways, like,
It'll tickle.
I was at, like, a party, and we were playing Ring of Fire, and, like, one of the games is, like, Never Have I Ever, and they asked, like, have you ever, never have I ever eaten out, and I didn't want to, like, say that I hadn't, because, like, I was so ashamed.
You're
like,
like,
really?
it
And there
doesn't matter because I had
and there
so
were-
many opportunities.
And there were
to.
girls there who I thought I had a chance with.
It's just like,
Yeah.
I eat pussy all the time.
Yeah.
It's my favorite meal.
Yeah, it's not like it was like I'd gotten
Eat it
so
twice
close.
a day.
It's just I'd gotten so close to eating pussy, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I had this other friend who she kept consistent lies for 2 years. And the thing that was weird about this one friend, her name was, let's call her Sarah.
Sarah. Okay.
So, this girl, Sarah, we were friends since freshman year. Then I remember she told me, oh, yeah, back when I had dreadlocks, I used to wear this hat, this bonnet. And then I remember my current friend, Anna.
Wait, you had dreadlocks?
No, that's what this girl, Sarah,
Okay.
would tell me.
Okay, that's fucked
And
up.
just
White people
here
with
and there,
dreadlocks.
here and there, little things, little details. That she worked at a restaurant named Dexter's. Another thing. One time she said she wasn't wearing underwear when she was. She lied a very intense, elaborate lie about a guy that she had a relationship with, and she was we would consistently exchange stories because I told her about someone that I still had feelings for from high school, and she told me her story. Like, she would talk, yeah, well, you know, with me and so, and this definitely endured for, like, I'm pretty sure that whole year that I was friends with her.
Yeah. She just kept up these.
And I later found out that through the other friend, Anna, who was our mutual friend, who
that
I
she'd been
eventually...
lying. So, like, why do you think she was lying so much?
I have no idea.
I don't
And
know. Because
It bothered me because I was like, why? Because if you really think about why people lie, they lie to either A, like, craft an image, or B, that they're insecure about saying something like, oh, I've never...
Spoinked.
Something like that, or I've never had that experience that you've had.
Right, like me and cunnilingus. Like, I didn't want to, because I didn't want to admit in front of girls that I hadn't eaten pussy, because it's like, what are they gonna think? Because the thing is, it's not like I didn't want to. You know, they
Right.
were gonna think like, oh, this guy like is, you
Is
know,
grossed out by it, yeah.
yeah, or just like has to be the dominant one
Yeah, but
always, which
Zach-
is not true because I like being the submissive one sometimes when when I have sex with
Yeah,
girls.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, sometimes. Rarely ever are the girls okay with that shit. Girls want to be the submissive one.
But back to the point, Zach. Is
Oh,
that
okay. I didn't know we had to talk about this point.
is
All right.
I'm kidding.
He
But
keeps bringing it
it's
back to
that-
Cutalingus.
I'm just very interested in cunnilingus, okay?
I mean, I thought I was the friend that she didn't have to be like feel that way in front of, and that's what really like shook me. And I wasn't.
Oh, well, like you haven't lied to her ever?
I mean, not about.
Poonanny?
Those are weird. No. Those were weird lies. She lied
Yeah.
about having dreads. Like, who care? Why do I care if you had dreads?
Yeah,
or
I
not?
suppose that is
It's-
kind of
it's
a...
like she lied about like wearing underwear. Why do
Yeah, well, I don't think it had anything to do with you
I?
then.
No, but she's just used
It's just
to.
a weird... I mean, that's just a weird lie.
What
I
if-
think no, that one. What I think was weird about that was she didn't make that lie to me. She made that lie to my friend Anna.
Well, what lies have you told, Allie? Miss, like,
Well,
oh, what the
but, like,
fuck?
No, I've told lies.
What about, like, from her perspective? What if, she felt like that was the person that you wanted her to be?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that-
and that's
and
what's
that,
interesting
like,
about it. That's
you know
what I
I mean?
think is interesting.
Like maybe from her perspective, she felt like the truth
I
would have
was-
gotten her rejected. Because, like, if you're exchanging a story with someone and you're really personal, like, and you're
You
really,
want to
like,
have
you
the
want
same
to, like, you,
experience.
like, being in that person's shoes, you'd kind of feel like, man,
Closer to them.
I want to, like, share something back. But
wanna
if you don't have,
empathize.
anything to share, like, do you think that you would have been happier, like, when you were exchanging stories, if she had told you, I've never experienced anything like that?
So are you essentially saying that someone can be just as good of a friend for you, whether they're lying to you or not, if it's about trivial things?
Yeah, because I have a friend who
That's interesting.
who I feel like lies a lot about, like
Yeah, little things that
like
don't.
things that I really don't care about, just to seem like, because I don't know, it's that guy,
Just to
it's
make
that,
the moment better?
it's like a very guy thing, where it's like every guy's like, man, I get so much pussy and I fuck
Yeah.
hoes and
Mhm.
I don't give a fuck. So
Right.
like you get into a lot of positions where a lot of guys are just like, I fuck bitches, I get pussy.
Well,
I
I mean,
think-
and I like,
you know what
you know what
other
I mean?
times
And
I
it's
lied?
just like, I know
I-
that, like, you, first of all, you're full of shit. And it's just
Yeah.
like, the second thing about it is like you're saying this, but like the last time a girl broke up with you, I was there and you were
Yeah.
crying. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you were
That
crying.
you're not
No.
acting
They're
like
just not
someone
being-
who's.
They're not being
It's like
upfront.
the
I
last
mean, like,
time
the
I
thing
broke
is,
up with a girl, like, I was crying. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like,
well, I mean, like,
It's
you
like,
know,
you know what
I
I
mean,
mean?
that's a big thing. You're right. Like, guys lie just to build themselves up. Like, other times that I've lied have been when I'm with someone about music or something, and, like, I'll just tell them, I'll exaggerate a lot about what I can do. I'll be like, yeah, I can play this style, I can play this style, I can play my guitar backwards, and, like, all this shit, just so they'll be more interested in what I can do.
Yeah.
And then I always assume that if I said something that I can do and then they want me to do that, I'll just learn how to do it really quick, and it'll all work out, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I've never, like, that's the only time I think I've ever lied about sex was during that Never Have I Ever game.
Okay.
But that was with strangers, like,
Yeah,
I don't really give a fuck. And I ate out one of the girls' pussies in the game like a few weeks later. So like
yeah.
and broke that cherry. So like I've eaten pussy now, so it's not a big deal. I'm probably not that good at it yet, honestly. But like honestly, I think it's much easier to just use your hands, to be quite honest, than to use your tongue. But
yeah.
I don't know. I guess girls like the tongue. I never understood why the girl wants the tongue on
I
their
don't
pussy.
know. Do you like
'Cause, like,
tongue
I
on
think
your
both
Well-
are
penis?
good.
Well, 'cause like think about it. All right, so
You have
guys,
to change the stimuli from one to the other every once in a while,
I
or else you
I
get too
suppose I
used to
understand.
it.
But it's like okay, you want your like wet part to touch my wet part. Is
Yeah, I
basically
know,
what
I
it
mean,
is.
why is sex pleasurable? Like that? Like
But I
this
wanted
goes.
to get back.
But
to,
I mean,
like,
it's
the
not
basic
that. I'm just
thing.
wondering
I
why they
mean-
don't want your fingers, because I feel like I have more like control
I mean,
with my
at the end of the
fingers.
day, it's just
like
like there's no reason, like, from like a logical perspective, why this should be like anything but.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, there is.
What for a
I
woman
mean,
or
I
a
mean,
I understand why, like
it's-
dick sucking makes sense to me because it's a hole, you know. But like, the tongue is. I guess.
Why does that
I
not
don't
make sense?
know,
There's
it's
the
like
clitoris
with
there.
I guess. Yeah. I guess I'm just.
You guys
I'm
don't
just
know
being an idiot.
anything
Yeah.
if you're gonna
Yeah.
go ahead and say that.
See, like here's
All right. I'm
here's the
sorry.
thing,
I'm
though,
sorry.
like it's all about like touch though. Like you know what I mean? Like it's all about
Yeah.
like feeling and like like exchanging touch. Essentially,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Well-
a lie that I can kind of empathize with, and I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you guys off or anything
Oh no, go
about
for
pussy and stuff. But
Oh no. Let me talk more about pussy. So.
Yeah,
Pussy. You know what I miss? Pubic hair. Those were the good days.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
So I feel like with what Michael was talking about, and it's common amongst guys, supposedly, according to Michael, that guys lie a lot about, getting girls or basically
Poontang.
basically not giving a shit because they're society gives them pressure to have this facade of like tough outer exterior shell, like
We have
I
to
don't
be the
have
alpha male.
emotional I don't have emotional like regards for things. And I think what's almost ironic is that I empathize with that. I
In what
empathize
way?
with that because I feel like I'm more of a progressive woman, quote unquote, or this is the facade I put on is that I'm
Women's
I'm
liberation.
I'm a feminist. I don't, guys can't bother me at all. Like da 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 da.
Right.
Like, and what's weird is because I've only become aware of the facade I put on after talking to some of my friends. When they say things to me like, Allie, you seem so this, you seem so that you're tough. You don't have, you're so solid and grounded. And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
seem pretty sporadic and fucked up to me, to be quite honest.
Exactly.
But I wouldn't be friends with you if you weren't. Same with you, Michael. We're all a little fucked up. Everybody's a little bit fucked up. All right.
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
that's a problem, I think, with feminism. I think we've talked about this before.
Well-
Is like, because I'm a feminist, right? Like,
yeah, I think
mean,
feminism
I
is healthy for men because it teaches men that, yeah, we're not just a bunch of animals who can't think for ourselves, and it
Yeah.
teaches men that they're allowed to have emotions. It's just basically equating everyone.
Yeah, I
Well,
That's
have
why
a feminine side. I
yeah,
definitely have a
feminism
feminine
is a
side. Sometimes I
healthy
tuck
thing.
my sack back. But I'm just saying, like, I think it's amazing that some guys aren't feminists because all it means, like, is you want sexes to be equal. Is
And
all
Yeah.
some
just have
people
equal
actually just
gender
don't want
roles.
that.
Yeah, some people don't.
Yeah, and like to me, because like the thing is, I say a lot of sexist shit. I'm sure. Like I have no problem saying cunt at all, and I hardly ever refer it to women, honestly.
Right.
But I don't mean to sound sexist. I just, if I do, like I'll address it. Unlike most guys I know who just like
Exactly,
pretend
that's
like they're
good.
not. Like
You're
remember the
aware.
other day, Patrick
Mhm.
at the Neil deGrasse, like him and I like used to eat lunch a bunch, and he would just say all this like bullshit. Like, oh, he one time told me a story where he said he let a girl suck his dick on her birthday. He let this is like he was like
I'll
she was a
let you.
fat girl and her friends wanted.
Oh
and
my
I was like, oh my
God.
god, just
Patrick,
stop.
some of the
You are
some of the
such a
grossest
sex-
stuff comes out of that kid's
And like
mouth.
I kept saying like, dude, you're a misogynist. He's
He
like,
is.
no, I'm not. I'm like, dude, he's like, what's a misogynist? I'm like, it means you don't believe that the sexes should be equal. He's like, oh yeah, I'm that. And I was like,
Yeah.
And
it's like,
see,
oh,
I remember
God,
the
dude.
thing that he
and
said
but the thing
that
is, he
day.
gets a lot of punani according to him. But then again, he might
Then
just be
again,
bragging
according-
about it.
yeah.
I don't tell you guys every time I fuck. I could. Would you like to know?
Yes,
This one
I would
time,
like to know.
my penis was in a vagina,
Yeah.
and it was
It was
good.
warm.
Can give
It was
me all
nice.
the details there.
It was a warm
I wore a condom
garage
though.
for my car.
Yo, back to lying to yourself real quick, fast. Have you
Yeah.
ever been like, I guess, let me rephrase this. Have you ever seen your ex and like you really want them to believe that you're over them, but you're really not?
Yeah.
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 I feel like
Oh,
that
yeah.
feeling is so like, oh my god, it's just like, I don't know. I wrote a song about that where it's just like,
It fucking sucks.
it's just like, I want you to see that I don't need you but then like I'm like
Just so I could seem cool,
yeah,
or
just
so I could
just
look
so
good
I
to
can
you.
look better than you, but it's like
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like I really want you back. Like
Yeah, and
sometimes-
that's
I
the
don't
whole
know.
reason why
Oh,
I want to
yeah.
look better to
Dude,
you.
oh yeah, I do that shit
Yeah.
all the time. Like I'll be
Yeah.
like, if
Yeah,
maybe if
so-
I act like I don't want her, she'll want me. And then like in
that's-
doing that
that's
makes me
stupid.
want her. Like so like
yeah,
it
I
makes
don't
things
know.
worse.
I'm just making sure I'm not crazy. So like,
Oh yeah,
No, no,
you're,
no, you're
you're
not.
well,
You
you're
guys are
that's
pathetic.
you're crazy, but it's not because of that. But
so what am I? What am I crazy?
See-
Like if you had to peg
Um,
my crazy, what would it be?
oh god, that's a good question. You never go outside, but I
Really?
mean neither do I. So I mean I consider you like a kindred spirit,
A
kindred crazy.
spirit.
But outside's nice.
And I don't know.
You don't have to go outside to
You're
the.
good people, Michael. You're just a little unsociable. but-
I used to be really sociable. I don't agree with that. I feel like I'm fairly sociable as far as
Yeah.
like I feel like I can get along with any group of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what? Maybe the problem is like me. You just it's not that you're unsociable. It's just most people suck. Is all.
Yeah, like I don't know.
I'm glad you said yes to that.
I
'cause
mean,
would've
they
looked crazy.
like I feel like
I mean, most people
I
do
feel
kind
like-
of suck, but
like there's boxes that some people won't leave. You know what I mean? Where it's like I feel like I can talk to some people. Like when I was in like high school, I guess this the best way I can explain it. Like I was on the football team, right? So I hang out with the football players for a while, and then I go to like, you know, the computer geeks, and I hang out with them for a while. You know what I mean? And then I go to another spot, and I hang out with them because it was just like I couldn't get everything I wanted from every
In
circle
one
of
person.
friends because it was like
Yeah.
they like. I felt
were
like
just
like
different
one
you're a
sections
linear
of good.
combination of
One,
personalities.
like yeah, I feel like there was no group that could accept the anime and the foot
Yeah,
and accept
yeah.
the football and
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about computers
yeah.
and talk about science and talk about like you know what I mean. Like I feel like
Hip-hop
I
and
just
yeah.
have like I don't know like enough of everything. Like my hands a little bit in everything that I
Well-rounded.
can
Yeah.
like relate with everyone on something, but it's hard to find someone who I can like relate everything or I feel would,
Yeah, you're a
would,
Renaissance friend.
would accept everything. I don't know, but I don't know. Part of me has like struggled with that because at times I feel like I keep things from people because I feel
because
like
you're
they
trying to
wouldn't
filter
accept it,
yourself. Yeah.
and I know they wouldn't accept it. Like
I'll accept you for whatever you want. If you want to tell me that you fuck men, Michael, I'll probably accept it. No, I'd accept it. I'd accept it,
I-
you silly
I
butt.
don't
alright.
fuck man.
So now the time is here where we've
mean-
reached an hour. Podcast is coming to an end, and I don't have a rhyme anymore.
What about fuck men?
Wow. God, I'm right here.
Would you under what circumstances would you fuck a man, Michael?
That's
Under
the end of
what
the podcast.
circumstances would I fuck a man?
Yeah.
Under the circumstance
The good
that
ones.
he chopped his penis off
Oh, come on.
and he
And
had,
had a vagina.
We talked about
I
this
thought
2
that-
podcasts ago.
I think you guys, I think men are less open-minded, but it's okay because society has made it so I won't judge you as hard.
I mean,
I had a friend. Well, I don't want to say that story, but
Are we? Wait, so
it doesn't matter. But
yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, I think I would, like, I knew a guy. He said he fucked a dude because he was curious, and when he did it, he didn't like it. Like,
Yeah.
So he found out he wasn't gay. He tried, and he was like, maybe it was
Or
just the
maybe-
dude. So he tried it again, and he didn't like it again. And like, I'm like, dude, I am not that open. Like, I could
Yeah,
not.
I mean-
I could not just like.
I mean,
suck a
mad
dick
props
for-
to that guy.
mad
I mean, the thing is,
props.
like, I feel like,
Just because he went so outside his comfort zone just to find out.
yeah, he seemed a
I
little.
did that.
I mean,
But it's also more socially acceptable for me to do that. So I
mean-
can't say that if I were a guy, if I would do the same thing. I will never actually know that.
Alright,
It's just
I
I've
wanna
never seen a
add-
dick I want to suck. Is all. Like I've just never.
Exactly. But
I
the
don't-
thing is, I never knew I wanted to like touch a vagina until I like did it, and then I didn't I don't per se want. I still don't want to do it, but if I did it enough, I would learn to like it. Just like when you have your first kiss in the movie theaters, it's always weird, right?
You
It's
kiss
when
in
your
the movie
first-
theaters?
That's where I had my first kiss.
Oh, wow.
And
That
it
is
was-
so cheesy.
Exactly. And it's but the point is when it first happens, you're just like that's weird. Okay, I'm crossing over to sexuality
Yeah.
and I'm just going to have to get used to this cuz this is what people do.
Did he put
And
his
then
hands down your
eventually you
pants?
like it. And shut up, Zach.
That was a
that's-
yes.
Eventually you end up No, that wasn't a yes. That was telling you. That was
Now who's
not
lying?
the first kiss and then that. Not in the same day. Come on.
Yeah.
And then
Promiscuous
I'm just telling you to shut up because you're ruining my flow. You're ruining my flow, man.
Your flow's over.
Stop being so
Podcast is over.
misogynist.
Yes, keep going. Keep going.
All right. Whoops.
Anyway.
I just pressed space.
It didn't do
So did you-
anything.
did you end
Don't
it?
worry.
Oh.
Yeah, it's over. It stopped.
Did it? No, it didn't. It didn't
The
stop.
point
think so.
is,
Oh, no.
is that
All right, what's the point?
I feel like that same exact line that you have to cross when you have your first kiss or your first sexual encounter where it's like, oh, this is weird.
yeah.
Well, that you are essentially when you do engage in anything with the same gender, you're just crossing yet another line like that. And at first it's like this is weird, but I feel like eventually you would
Be cool with it.
Be cool with it.
I mean,
and
I
it would
feel
be
like
normal.
it'd be similar to masturbating,
Yeah.
except more shit.
Yeah, that.
And if you actually like
I don't
the
like poop.
if
I
you
just
like,
don't like poop involved with sex.
No,
Like,
well, that's not.
do you
what we're
like anal
talking
sex?
about. Oh, so you're talking about like
Sodomy.
Well, that's part of gay sex.
Yes,
I'm
we're
like, that's
talking about
yeah, but
sodomy.
you could also enjoy a blowjob. Yeah, you're
well,
right.
yeah, but
That's another thing to get over. That would be another hurdle to make sure that you. See, I can't have anal sex.
Why not? Your asshole's too tight. Sorry.
With
You know,
another woman, I couldn't have anal
Oh,
sex.
well, no, I mean like
with
in
a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we were talking about.
I'm
yeah,
talking
you're right.
about if you would like
yeah,
anal
you're
sex.
right. I actually.
Sodomy.
You know, I've thought about it. I've thought about
thought
having
about
anal
it.
sex, but I don't think I'll ever have it.
Yeah, you know what my like
I mean-
I love Louis C.K.'s like viewpoint on it. It's like you're like a centimeter from the greatest place in the universe, and you decide to go into like the world of shit. You know what I mean? Like basically a sewage.
But here's the thing that I've wondered about that.
Really
It's
tight
like
for a
guys have asses, girls have asses. Like
Yeah.
if a girl likes it, like does that mean that I don't know?
Well, the thing is,
Like I don't
I
know.
like-
I don't get it.
well, I
I
mean,
don't
there's a
get it.
difference though.
I
Like
would just rather
supposedly you
use
can
the
get
vagina.
clitoral stimulation through anal sex.
That's interesting.
Like some
there are
girls,
a lot of nerve endings.
I know
there,
a girl
supposedly.
who likes anal sex better than vaginal sex,
Wow.
and she told me this like after we had spoinked, like, and it had been like months, and I was like, "Fuck." Like,
You're like, I could have done
like,
that.
is that what you wanted? Like, is that why we haven't fucked together? Because like I didn't live up to what you wanted. Like, why did you just say so?
So
I
would
mean-
you have tried that? You would have
Well,
probably
here's the thing.
experimented.
I've had girls tell me that they like it, and I've always been so grossed out by it. But I feel like if I was
You
in the
could make
moment
some
and a
clean-
girl was like, "Fuck me in the ass," I'd be like, "Okay."
yeah, if you
Let's do
if
it.
you could probably make some clean sanitary precautions and it'd be fine. I mean, I have gay
Sanitary
friends who
No
talk to me about
such
anal sex
thing.
all the time, and they're totally clean about it. So.
Oh
anyway.
yeah,
they're
totally clean. Get the
dirty,
shit
man.
out of there.
They're like poop scoopers, man. Like they
know.
go.
What happens if
Well,
you
that's
get?
what you guys were talking
What
about.
happens if you get
so-
shit in your pussy?
You can get
That can't happen.
Oh,
Oh,
can?
I
How could
actu-
it not happen? It's
I
very
actually,
likely in that situation. In
I
fact,
actually know a story about that because my one of my teachers when I was in high school,
she got shit in her pussy. I'm sorry.
nah, he had a patient who got shit
Oh.
in her pussy, and she ended up getting fuck. I think it was like she got 2 vaginal infections or some shit.
dude, that's not even. I don't even want to laugh at that. That sounds horrible.
It's pretty
Yeah.
fucked up, but
Change condoms, please.
All right,
Yeah.
so I guess is that the end of the
so
podcast?
the time is here to end the podcast.
We've gotten it
Do-do-do.
all out, said what we needed to say.
Yes, all we have left is talk about Jesus.
All we have is time.
Thank you all for listening to Blind Math Podcasts, and may Jesus Christ bless you.
Jesus paid for our sins. Let's get our money's worth.
When you're going
Jesus
to bed
what?
tonight and you want to touch yourself, why not think of Jesus? What would Jesus want you
Or
to
why not
do?
think of sodomy?
I think Jesus would like you to
Sodomize him?
imagine him while you master. Yeah, I think he would. I think he would like it. All right. Goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.